We're in.
We're kicked off. Welcome, top of the afternoon. Welcome to First World Third Rails. I'm your host, Marlon.
Pleasure to meet you, Marlon. JD.
Pleasure to be
Guy
with you.
before you, Mayhem, aka the Disruptor. He was a handful.
He's a handful. He is a handful. For those that don't know, when you meet him, you'll be saying the same thing. He's a handful.
Right. I miss him already.
How you doing, brother?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
I'm a day late, but happy indictment day. Where is it? There we go. Happy indictment
God,
day.
yes. Happy indictment day. So I have a suspicion we're going to agree on this. Let me drop a thought. The selection of the judge was not random.
No.
Less than 7% chance, 1 in 15.
She should recuse herself because she's not neutral. So she should recuse herself. She won't do the right thing. So I don't know how that gets resolved. I guess removal is the next step. And I don't know if that's possible. But if you are not impartial, if you are not balanced, as I've tweeted several times, the judicial system has never been balanced, especially for people of color, especially for Black people. You should recuse yourself. Now, that would require some level of self-integrity, which she clearly does not have. So I don't know what becomes of this.
There's precedent.
I just saw a tweet that Mooch, it wasn't from him, but it was somebody or referencing his comments that Anthony Scaramucci, that he believes Trump will drop out of the race as part of a plea deal to avoid jail time before Iowa. And how do you feel about that?
Are you asking me how I feel about it?
No, that was the tweet. How do people feel about that? And with that comes a lifelong ban from politics. And this is why I mentioned that. I've said that, you know that. I've tweeted this, I've spouted this, I've posted this. I know he's not going to jail. This is why Colin Kaepernick took a knee. I know this. I'm at peace with that already, where many of the 62% are going to have to make peace with that fact. I'm already there. My hope is that he is never deemed to be eligible to hold public office again, ever. So that's what I want out of all of this. That's an extremely low bar, but it should be a realistic bar. It should be where this whole thing takes us, to a point where he is deemed to be ineligible. Again, I've talked, and multiple people have liked that tweet of mine, that this is why Colin Kaepernick took a knee. Our judicial process has been broken my entire life and beyond. If you in the greater 48 Continental cannot vote because you're a convicted felon, you should not be able to hold office as a convicted felon. This is a very low bar. And yet, here we are. Here we are.
You know, you mixed a lot of stuff together.
But it nets out to one simple thing.
Yes.
The low bar, and we know the system is broken.
All right. So knowledge of this, there too, so forth and so.
Let me ask you a question.
Yep. Okay.
Let me ask you a question. Do you know, and I don't want to make this specific to Black people, but in this instance, I will. Do you know a single Black person on the planet that would have been allowed to walk out of that courtroom yesterday after being indicted?
OJ?
OJ went to jail,
Not for
got
that.
released on bail
No, but he was indicted and he walked out of the courtroom.
after he went to jail first before he walked. He didn't walk out of the courtroom. He went, I remember this like it was yesterday.
I think that Trump posted bail.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did.
I'm not sure that that's an exception. That if you're indicted and
There isn't a black
come in for
person in
arraignment,
America.
and
There
then
isn't.
the terms of the indictment are spelled out, and then you make the necessary arrangements for bail.
Bail or not, there isn't a black person in America that would have walked out of that courtroom yesterday. Not one.
I can answer your question with the following: I don't know.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
So,
I damn sure do.
first to Judge Eileen Cannon. I would imagine the DOJ is going to appeal that to the 11th Circuit Court.
Circuit. Yeah.
And they're not going to be obligated to wait for her to misbehave because she has a pretty significant track record of misbehaving.
Yep.
On the second issue, where Scaramucci, you're saying he speculates that Trump will drop out because of a plea deal.
Before Iowa, as part of a plea deal to avoid jail time, and that plea deal would carry a lifelong ban from politics. All
right. So there's a reason he would not take a plea deal, and that is that he could no longer fundraise. In other words, if he can't run, he will still be able to fundraise. He'd be able to just send me money because you're you and I'm me, and he'd still get some money, but he wouldn't be able to do what he does with political action committees. In other words, a plea deal would shut down that spigot.
Yep.
So that's the reason he won't take the plea deal. The other thing is, I don't think he'll be offered that plea deal.
I don't either.
Because if in fact he were to have such a plea deal, then that would be an example of the legal system malfunctioning. In other words, you would have driven a major candidate out of an election, and you would not have returned any type of actual criminal activity. So I think the DOJ will not.
That doesn't make sense to me.
That's fine. That's fine.
So clarify.
I'm disagreeing with Scaramucci. I don't believe the DOJ will offer him that deal. And on my own personal account, I don't think he should be offered a deal.
Because
we want to see this carried through so that it is not a case of entrapment or fabricating or weaponizing the DOJ.
There's none of that.
If he has a plea deal, at that point, the perpetual ongoing story will be that the DOJ was weaponized and forced Trump out of the race, even though he was innocent.
He's not innocent. So that narrative
is
not bullshit.
Proven guilty yet.
Due process, I get it.
Right. So I'm saying the due process should either have him beat the charges, or
dude, let's stay in reality here for a minute. Okay.
Okay, hold on.
Let's stay in reality.
I'm actually in reality.
No, you're not. I get what you're saying. Due process, I got it.
Right. So I've expressed an opinion.
Were there top secret?
I don't think they'll offer.
Were there top secret, highly classified documents in his possession in Mar-a-Lago?
Allegedly.
Simple question, JD.
Now keep in mind, you and I are we're on the same sheet of music. I hate the guy.
Simple question. Did he have
and he's not a good person to boot.
Did he have documents?
I believe he did, and I think they're going to prove it in a court of law.
We've all seen the pictures. We've all seen
it. What?
We've all seen it.
I'm going right back. It's like a player piano. Eventually, it loops back around. So I'm starting right at the top. Due process. I'm very comfortable with due process.
We know what he did.
If he gets off. He gets off. I mean, that would be.
We know what he did.
Byproduct of the other mistakes that are being made.
We know what he did.
Stop making mistakes. Be right about things, and bring the conviction.
We know what he did. We know what was in his possession. These are facts. We already know this. So yeah, let due process play out, but we already know.
We can't be making up new methods to send people to jail. We need to take the ones that are clearly established in law.
He has documented photographic evidence
So
of
what? I can see
being in
documented photographic evidence of UFOs on Twitter.
of
So what?
being in, this isn't a UFO. This is a highly top secret
We're
classified
agreed.
document.
I know that those are real pictures. I know that those are real documents. What I'm saying is you cannot incarcerate somebody based on photographic evidence. That's where due process originated. It's where it came from.
So we'll let due process run its course, but
Agreed.
we already know.
I'm not
We
going to argue
already
that point.
know.
I think we already know, but he has to be convicted.
We shall see.
Yes, we shall see.
We shall see.
I assume there is some in-depth investigation going on into how Eileen Cannon was assigned to this. That is absolutely off the charts.
It's why Colin Kaepernick took a knee.
I don't know why you keep citing the injustice of justice relative to Trump. In other words, these things don't seem to fit.
Yeah, they fit. It's clear example of how our system is broken.
Oh, you're saying that because he was white, he was granted a judge who's favorable. Okay, I see your point. I see your point. Is that the point you're making?
Yes, 100%.
If it was Colin Kaepernick, then name somebody who didn't like Colin Kaepernick.
He would have got a hangman judge.
He would have got a hanging judge. They would have called in David Duke to run it.
Yeah, they would have.
They would have said, we're going to have a temporary Florida bar exception for David Duke to come run.
I got to touch on an issue that's really, and I might have been born at night, but it wasn't last night. I know what the petulant child is trying to do. And the petulant child, for all those joining in progress, is Elon.
Oh, Elon Musk? What's he trying to do?
He's trying to silence those who speak for others like me. And let me give an example.
Algorithmically, you're saying the algorithm now is starting to.
Yeah. He's created an algorithm that I know if I put this in the for Marlon feed, Marlon is going to sound off on it, and it gives me the ability to suspend him, which is why I'm coming off my second 6-day suspension. So I know somebody asked this question yesterday. Why are all these MAGAs in my feed? I don't follow them. I don't engage with them. Why are they showing up in my feed?
Because they get the most traffic.
Well, because Musk knows this is how I silence people. I put them in their feed via the algorithm.
Remember, Musk is just talking to his engineers and instructing them on the algorithm.
Right. So what he's instructing them to do is put MAGAs in our feed so we'll respond violating Twitter rules and we can suspend and silence them.
MAGAs here, MAGAs there, MAGAs everywhere.
I have so many MAGAs in my fucking feed right now.
And respond, I do not dare. What?
I have so many fucking MAGAs in my feed right now.
Can you block them as they come across? Can you block them?
Yeah, I guess I could.
Ooh.
The most used tweet I did yesterday was in response to a multitude of them being MAGAs, saying, I stand and I support President Trump. And my response to each of those was very simple. Most imbeciles do.
Now that's okay. That's not going to get you banned.
Nope.
That's
and it's accurate. And it's accurate.
What?
It's accurate.
Yeah, but you didn't get banned for that.
Not yet.
Okay, so algorithmically, I wouldn't expect imbeciles to be.
We'll see.
In the group.
We'll see.
Now, is there a way I can see what's in your Twitter feed?
Yeah, you go to my name and look on my. Okay,
I would have to log in, right?
That would require you to log in.
All right, so let me see if I can log in here. Download the latest version of Firefox. No, thank you.
Why would you want to do that?
Actually, I'm just kidding. I will download it, but now I will download. No, I use Firefox all the time.
I do too. Not all the time, but I do.
Oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene stands with Trump. Okay, so I just came into my feed. I haven't been in here for ages. I don't tweet at all. The first thing I see is, can I show you my screen? Because it's germane to this discussion.
Go for it.
All right, so what I'm going to do, how do I do that? I think I know how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say share screen, and I'm just going to share an app.
Or screen. Either one's fine.
All right, do you see it?
Yep.
All right, so I am absolutely, positively, I have no relationship with Twitter whatsoever.
Do me a favor. Go down. Go down a bit. Just a
Okay,
bit.
but I just want to show you that this is the first thing that.
Oh, look who's commented.
Of course you do. That's what deplorables do. Okay, so I'll like this. Where do I like it?
The heart.
The heart. I like that. That's good. So I'm going to start getting algorithmed. But I guess the reason I'm saying it is because you commented on it.
And you're following me. That's probably in the algorithm. Yeah, I would.
Well, that's definitely in the algorithm because I chose to follow you. So if I'm following you, then I'm going to get that. All right. So what they're saying is for you. So every time you comment, you distribute it to a wider audience and more liberal.
But you don't see all of my comments.
I would see all of them because I'm following you.
No, you wouldn't see everything that I comment on.
No, but the point that I'm making is I would not have seen this if you.
Why don't you see others?
Because I'm only following you and I don't tweet. They don't know anything.
No. You're not following me. She is not the only mag fuck stick that I've said that to. Why don't you see the others?
Well, maybe I do. Where would I see them?
They would show up on your feed like that one did.
Well, I'm only following a few people, so I'm only following
Well,
you.
you would definitely see it under there. Or not. Or not.
Why does that say sign Terra?
I'm not sure why Sign Terra is trending. It's trending from.
Hey, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm coming back to you.
It's trending from 43 minutes ago. So let me Sign Terra. See what Sign Terra is all about. My buddy. That's my buddy, Tara Dublin, who I've commented on and gave a shout out during our podcast on. Tara Dublin, she was the one who took the picture that I think I shared with you of Congressman Bowman. She deserves a book deal. That's what that's all about.
Oh, sign Terra. Oh, she deserves a book deal?
Yeah.
Boy, I'll say. All right. So
we solved that one.
There's the next one up is the Lincoln Project. As expected, the GOP has fallen in line to defend the indefensible.
Of course. This is what deplorables do.
You know, I think maybe I'm mentally prepared to have the conversations we used to have that we haven't had yet.
Okay.
I've kind of touched on it, but we really haven't done it. Can I share again?
Be my guess.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share this again, right here.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I think if I do this,
Donald Trump indicted again, this time for violating the Espionage Act, one of the worst crimes imaginable. But he joins a select list of Americans also indicted for this crime. Robert Hansen, Aldrich Ames, Anna Montez, John Walker, Ronald William Pelton, all indicted for violating the Espionage Act with the prison terms that traitors and spies against America deserve. And what will Trump get? The men and women running against him for president will defend him, praise him, make excuses. They'll lie about the prosecution and make up stories about the deep state to rile up the MAGA base. There's no excuse for espionage, no defense for stealing America's secrets or sharing them with anyone, ever. Trump did this to himself. He took the documents, he shared them, and conspired to cover it up. Patriots know people who commit this crime belong in prison, not the White House.
All right. So do you remember in our last conversation, I speculated that this might be a bridge too far?
You remember my response?
Essentially, you disagreed with me.
Yes.
Right. So I was speculating that not all Maganoids would be comfortable with treason. So they have to believe that it's treason. Now, the beauty of this entire situation, in my opinion, is that Maganoids, which is predominantly white people who are afraid of losing their position.
Except for the white people who wear the blacks for Trump t-shirts. There's a percentage of those.
You know what? They thought they were so clever. I can just hear them tittering, the old ladies just like, I'm going to wear this t-shirt. I made this t-shirt for Maggie, my friend. We're going to walk. I bet we'll be on TV. We're so clever. We're so clever. Okay, so the thing I really like about this is they're calling him a traitor. We're calling him a traitor. We're calling his behavior treasonous. I like this because if a Maganoid wants to overcome this, I think that is an extreme exposition. In other words, there has to be a reason. And I think we're slowly getting closer to the racist entitlement reasons that white people behave the way they do. And I personally think that this exercise has value. It's roughly analogous to Ukraine going to war with Russia. We're going to war with these Maganoids to get them to actually reveal themselves. They're going to have to start explaining why they keep supporting this person. I know the explanation. The explanation is they don't like people of color. They don't like LGBTQ. They don't want anything to change. They just want everybody to get in the boats and go back to where they came from so that we can go back to the sublime, homogeneous environment that we used to have. I know this because I am one. And I feel the tug of that. I don't succumb to it, but I feel it. And so I think they're going to have to start articulating that that is the case, that that's the compelling reason that they stay with this bigoted, misogynistic traitor. There has to be a reason. And I think we're going to have exposition on that reason. No?
No.
Well, I thank you for allowing me to complete my thought.
If they had a conscience or any sense of decency,
Okay.
Let me finish. If they had a conscience or any sense of decency, that narrative you just laid out would apply. But they don't.
There's a DNA, there's a gene missing, or there's an extra gene present. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready. Give me the extra gene.
So whether they've lost a gene or they have an extra gene, I don't know, but it's the same as having diabetes when you can't process insulin. You can't create insulin. So these white people consider themselves to be good people.
Yes.
They think that they're exceptional people. They also think that they're superior. I'm telling you, this is the true white man's burden. We think we're superior to everybody because of our skin color.
Right.
And it is omnipresent. It is reinforced in every aspect of our lives as we're raised. And then either you succumb to it or you push through it to the other side and realize that it's just dogma. And that's the simple, straightforward point that I'm making. When you say if they had shame, I believe they have shame. They just don't have shame about this, because in their estimation, the enemy is, the term that's typically used is lesser, children of a lesser God, or the bad term is subhuman. So when they look out and they see people who are not like them, those people are subhumans. And for the same reason that the Crusaders went to the Middle East to deal with the infidels, it is absolutely their purpose in life to turn things right and to put down all of these infidels who are not like them, who aren't religious like them, who aren't white like them. That is the burden. And I think the more that they support, and the more things he gets on his rap sheet, and they continue their support, they're eventually going to have to start articulating this. I don't know if they'll articulate it out of frustration. Somebody will ask the question properly. They'll get lazy, but they're going to start saying, listen, we just fucking hate all you goddamn people. And we want things to go to an authoritarian environment where we retain all control. We retain all the assets, all the influence, all the political levers. We do not want any LGBTQ or people of color coming in and telling us how to do our business. That's what white people want. And most of us white people are just sympathizers. We just sit on the sideline waiting to see how it turns out. And even the ones who know that it's wrong and have some shame, they're not really participating. The only ones that are participating are the self-selected white people who feel very strongly about it, and they go out and they champion this cause and they support Donald Trump.
Okay.
We've talked about it before. That's not news.
We
to me.
have. No.
So that's all I'm saying, is that I consider this a positive experience for all of us to go through, because they're essentially painted into a corner, and somebody somewhere is going to actually just come out and say, yeah, this is the deal. This is why
They've already said that. They've already said that. We saw that.
It's all said indirectly.
We saw them say exactly that in 2016 with the tiki torches. Jews will not replace us.
Jews will not replace us. Okay, that is selected. That's Jews. Now, one of the things you'll see when you look into different communities,
It could have been Jews. It could have been anybody.
but it wasn't anybody. Jews are a notoriously small slice of every population. They're always single digit.
But they're saying and have said the quiet part out loud forever.
Yes, but the example that you're citing, Jews will not replace us, is the decision that most societies have made before them to target that group and articulate their grievances against that group, because it's such a tiny frickin' group.
Okay. But
I think one of the nice things, one of the very fortunate things about Maganoids, one of the nice things about humans in general is that, with a very few exceptions, we're all pussies. We don't like conflict. We don't like fistfights. We don't like conflict. Most people.
That's not me.
Yeah, but by the same token, most of your conflict is just verbal, yakety yak.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of people get exercised about yakety yak. And if you diminish words and just say they're just words, so they don't.
Words have meaning.
I know that, but the point is that there's a big difference between actually going up the steps of the Capitol. That was an extreme case.
Yes.
Right. And a lot of them have in fact been convicted.
Yes.
Okay, so What I'm saying is that this is a good exercise for the country to go through. And this brings me back to the concept of Scaramucci saying he's going to accept a plea deal, and me saying I don't think they'll offer it, and also saying I don't want them to offer him a plea deal. I want them to either win or lose in the courtroom, because we need to go through due process, and it has to apply to Trump just like it should apply to
So
everybody.
how could they win in the courtroom?
If I understand correctly, this is a criminal case, and it requires that the jury agree,
Mhm,
all of them, unanimously.
mhm.
I keep hearing that if just one person dissents, that he could be found not guilty. Now, that's one of the reasons I think they have 37 counts.
Indictment, right.
The 39, did it go up?
It went up to, I think, 39.
Son of a gun. So you're going to have some quantity of jurors, I presume 12 by 39 now. That's a big number. So you could have a lot of, you're going to have people who are sympathetic to Trump. They're going to sneak in.
Maybe. Let's remember how we got the indictment. The indictment came from a grand jury, not from Biden's DOJ.
I'm well aware of that. The grand jury was out of a jury pool
Yes,
in the Delmarva area,
yes,
and it was conducted in secrecy.
yes.
This is fundamentally different. The jury pool would be a jury of his peers that are in that district or in that region.
Yes.
That is a hotbed of MAGA down. I mean, a lot of MAGAdoids down there. That's
Yeah,
probably
there is.
flipped. It's probably 62-38 down there.
So again, this is why Colin Kaepernick took a knee.
I'm going to be honest. I understand what you're saying, but every time you say that, I think you lose altitude. I don't think that buys
don't.
you anything.
I don't. It buys me
Doesn't buy
everything.
you anything.
It buys me everything.
And I'm a big supporter of Colin Kaepernick, and I
It
was
buys me
treated
everything.
badly, and I think the justice.
What we are
But
talking about,
you keep defusing any type of point you're trying to make, which would be a universal point, by turning it into that wouldn't happen with Colin Kaepernick. I don't understand what you think you're buying when you say that.
he took a knee because we know
What does that have to do with Trump committing treason?
the process is broken.
Are you saying that there is not a
There's-
single
listen,
subject
listen,
that you can
listen,
discuss?
listen. This is what frustrates me.
Just one thing?
There isn't a single human intelligent, there isn't a single intelligent, comprehensive human being that can look at this evidence and not rule that he knowingly was in possession of documents he should not have had and tried to cover it up.
All right.
Those are-
So if somebody gets
those-
into that courtroom and they're like,
Those-
is my savior, and they manage to
Those,
sneak into that courtroom, they're going to be like, my purpose in life is to
keep
come to this
asking
courtroom
me,
and get him off, my savior.
you keep asking me, JD, why I say Colin Kaepernick took a knee. This
Yes,
is
no,
why.
I'm asking what the
This
point
is
is.
why. This is why. This is exactly why. Because Trump being your guy shouldn't have anything to do with you as a juror. Your job is to fucking base this case on the evidence presented to you. That's your job and obligation and duty as a fucking juror.
What was was it Ed Reed? Who was the guy who kneeled with Kaepernick? It wasn't Ed Reed. Ed Reed.
No, it wasn't Ed Reed. It was God, I can't remember his name. Eric something.
Thank you. Well, that gentleman who kneeled with him in real time.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, that was a ballsy move too. He's not going to be on the jury because he's exposed.
It
But there
doesn't
would be
matter.
other people who are sympathetic to Kaepernick who might be able to mask it, and they would get onto the jury. And they would correctly, in their mind, they would think it's my mission to get Kaepernick exonerated.
That's not your obligation as a juror. Your
But what I'm
obligation.
saying is that every time we come to this, I'm trying to understand why you cite the injustice of justice in the situation where we're trying to get Trump convicted.
Because it's broken. Your
It may be
obligation,
broken, but I'm still of a mind that we need to go through it.
your
I'm gonna agree with
obligation,
you. It's broken. That's why Colin Kaepernick took a knee.
your
Doesn't
obligation,
change what has to happen.
your,
He has to go through this.
your obligation and duty as a juror is to render a verdict based on the evidence, period.
We're mutually agreed. And I'm suggesting it's possible that people
No,
will
it's
go into
not.
the
No,
jury
it's
box
not.
who will
No, it's not.
render
No,
the
it's not.
verdict based on their opinion.
No, it's not. You just said that it's unlikely to be that because it's MAGA country and the jury pool will be made up of Magadonians. This is why I continue to say we know this, which is why he took the knee. We can't have a fair and balanced judicial system and process until we address it.
I agree. But we don't have a fair and balanced judicial system, irrespective of whether Kaepernick took a knee. It is,
He took the knee because we know
but
we
it's
don't.
all we've got. It's all we've got. So we're obligated to use everything we've got.
So we're obligated to use a broken system.
Yes, we don't have a choice. And I'm
Yeah,
suggesting.
we do have a choice. Fix
Okay,
the
what is
system.
choice?
Fix the system.
Nobody's going to fix the system. Why would all the people who are in positions of authority are gaming the system? Why would they fix it?
I know. And so to
But you know, the
quote,
more you do
to
this,
quote,
no,
to-
this is problematic to me.
to
What you're
quote,
saying is the DOJ is gaming the system. In other words, somebody listening to you now would say, you know,
No,
Marlon concurs
no,
that Trump
no.
can't get a fair trial because the whole thing is broken. And I'm like, why are you doing this? What is the point in this case
to
of
quote,
reaching out to the entire justice system and dragging it into this courtroom? Why can't you just deal with things in that courtroom right now, recognizing that there will be
because the
some
system
injustice?
is broken.
Okay,
It's
we mutually
fucking
agree it's
broken.
but why do you want to emphasize that it's broken as we're trying to support indictment of Trump? Why is this the place to make your point? You're like if I was a MAGA guy, let's say I'm a MAGA guy, which I'm not, I would be like, you know, Marlon, this whole justice system is completely busted. That's why Kaepernick took a knee and now Trump can't get a fair trial. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand why you're making this point right now this way. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It makes
I don't
perfect
challenge you. I'm
sense.
saying I don't understand.
If you would be quiet and listen, it would make perfect sense to you.
I listen.
No, you're not listening.
Okay.
No, you're not. I can tell you're not listening.
Forgive me.
I didn't say
really
anything
trying to
about
listen.
I didn't say anything about Trump getting a fair trial. My point to you is any other fucking person on the planet would not have walked out of that courtroom yesterday.
Why are we having this conversation right now? Why can't we talk about what's going
Because
on and not the litany of issues that you
What
have?
do you
with the
think? What do you
justice?
think? What do you think the outcome of
That's a
this is going to
separate
be?
podcast.
What do you think the outcome of this is going to be?
What do I think the outcome
I
is?
already know what the outcome is going to be. I've told you
No,
a
you
million
don't.
fucking times. Yes, I do.
All right, who's going to win the Super Bowl next year?
Bad
It's the
analogy,
same goddamn thing.
Bad-
You don't
no,
know.
it
You
isn't.
know the
No,
rules
it
of the
isn't.
game.
No,
You
it
know the
isn't.
schedule.
No, it isn't.
You know
No,
when
it
they're going to
isn't.
play.
No, it
You
isn't.
know when they're going to have it, but you
No,
don't
it
know
isn't.
the outcome.
No, it isn't. No,
Oh,
it
no,
isn't.
wait.
Because
I
the
know
Super-
you know. The Cowboys are
the-
going to win.
The Super Bowl is
That
fair and balanced. The judicial system and process is not. So
It-
that's
All right. So I will tell you that I find this really disheartening because I am hoping that it works well enough that we convict this motherfucker.
no.
And the only point that you want to make is one that MAGAs would be making, which is you can't get a fair trial. And it's like,
I never said he can't get a fair trial.
you can't be in two places at once. You can't say the whole thing is totally busted. And that's why Kaepernick took a knee. And now we need to stick it to Trump. I mean, if I'm on the other side of that argument, I'm like, dude, you're so right. Poor Trump can't get a fair trial.
That's not what I haven't uttered those words. I have not uttered those
You
words.
have said the system is broken and the implication is that it's universally broken. Or are you saying that it's broken in Trump's favor and
Yes.
against Kaepernick?
Yes. Finally, thank you for fucking catching up. Yes. He's not going to jail. That's fucking exhibit A of why it is broken. He's not going to jail. And I could not remember her name on our last podcast, Reality Winner, who is serving a 5-year prison term for possession of a single document. One single document. He is indicted on 37 different fucking counts.
So you're
He
saying,
is not going to serve a single day in jail.
so you're making the point that I'm making, essentially. No,
Are you sure?
hold on,
Are
hold
you
on.
sure?
Actually, I want to admit something.
All right.
I think I get it. I think the things I was saying stand alone, but they weren't, I was like talking apples, you were talking oranges.
Yes.
Okay, so that was my mistake. It's because I wasn't listening. But so now I'm trying to catch back up to you. Like I said, I wasn't challenging so much, trying to understand. So I think I understand better. So you're saying, you're basically corroborating or reinforcing the point that I made, that there's an extra gene or a gene missing. There's something about the fucking people who are responsible for this process in Florida that is going to keep them. They're going to think that they're good people doing the right thing, and they're going to do the wrong thing. But they're going to do it because their purpose is noble, their cause is just, and Trump is their savior, and any action taken to save his raggedy ass is justifiable. Is that the point that you're making?
Yep. Where they should be ruling on this particular case based on the merits of the evidence.
I'm
period.
hoping that'll happen.
No, it's not going to happen. Which again is why Colin Kaepernick took the knee.
Okay.
It's not going to happen. We know it's not going to happen. We've already seen the indication that it's not going to happen because he walked out of that fucking courtroom yesterday. Does Marlon Taylor walk out of that courtroom? Hell no.
Yes, if you can post bail.
No. I would have went to jail. From jail, I would have made my phone call and somebody might have posted bail for me. But I do not walk out that courtroom.
I can't afford it.
But I do not walk out that courtroom. Does J.D. Wilson walk out that courtroom? A white man? No, he goes to jail. He makes a phone call to have Marlon say, I don't have bail money for you. Let me call somebody else. He remains in that
phone call.
He remains in that cell. He does not walk out of that courtroom.
I don't walk out. You don't walk out. Only Trump walks out.
No one walks out of that courtroom. No one. No one. Not a person on the planet. And this is why my better half always asks me why I'm so angry every single day. This is why. This is exactly why. Because we know it, we see it, it's right in our faces, and we are powerless at the moment to do anything about it. And I say at the moment because to something you said earlier, system is broken, we have to deal with it and live with it. No, we don't. To quote Shannon Watts, founder of Mom's Demand, we start putting people in place that do things about it.
No, that's fine. That's a tomorrow thing.
That's a tomorrow long-term solution, but that's the only solution. We've got to start putting people in place.
Well, you're late to the party because there are a lot of federal
people
judges
that need replacing. Yes.
that have been, been named over the past 6 years.
Yes. But at the end of the day, that's why I said your Super Bowl is a bad analogy. We know what he did. We've already seen the evidence of what he did. And to, again, correlate it to Reality Winner, who is serving 5 years for a single document, one fucking document.
Yeah, but she's
He
not the
has
leader
boxes.
of the Magadonians, so
He has
totally different.
boxes of
Hey,
documents.
is Reality Winner trans?
No. And here's something else that we don't know. And this is why
I would be smarter if it was.
this is why I poo-pooed all over your comment last week, and it still holds today, that treason is a bridge too far. It's not. It's not.
I don't know. I'm just saying, I
I
hope.
know. I know.
I think even decent people who have a superiority complex and don't like people of color and LGBTQ, they would add traitors to that.
We'll see.
It doesn't have to be a lot.
I already know.
It has
that
to be like, out of the 32, if we could just peel off 2%, which would be 6% of the
And
two.
here's the thing that we don't know yet, that we know. I'm not going to speak for others. Here's the thing that we don't know, that Marlon is absolutely certain of.
Yes.
He gave, sold, or shared those documents with facets that he should not have sold, shared, or given to.
We don't know that, but we suspect that.
Marlon knows that.
Marlon knows that.
He's done that.
If somebody asked me on a bet, I would say, I bet, yeah, he has.
Yes. Yes. With every conviction of my being, I know that he has done that. Because that's the kind of fucking worm he is. So we know he's done it. We'll learn who he's done it with, and it still won't be a bridge too far.
Well, I'm hoping it will be for just a few of them.
It's so ironic that you are Mr. Half-Full. I am the pessimist.
I'm not half full.
Yeah, you are. You think that treason is a bridge too far.
No, I think of things around entitlement, and I happen to recognize the weakness of my people, my peeps. And I know that we're entitled and we think we're better than everybody else.
What does that got to do with treason?
I don't think even a person who's a highfalutin, entitled, racist, misogynist snob is going to be like, yeah, I love me some treason. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they're going to lose some people over this one. And even if he's not convicted, he has been indicted. And there will be reporting coming out of that courtroom, and there will be witnesses, and Evan Corcoran's going to be one of them. And Evan Corcoran is going to say some things that are going to make people's hair stand on end. And I think out of that 32%, they're going to lose between 2 and 4%. That's what I'm hoping.
May I remind you, as I did on the last podcast, may I remind you of the infamous words that now people like you are seeing play out. I could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and not lose support.
No, not.
He has shot.
That's not true for 100% of the Magadonians.
He has shot America in the head in the middle of Fifth Avenue, and they are out there flying his flag, wearing his shirts. I saw a woman at a baseball game with a T-shirt. I'll paraphrase. You can grab me by the pussy anytime. And she looked like a true MAGA.
All right, so let's use football again, because I want to actually put some emphasis on this. So, but I need an analogy. So my analogy is, if you go to a football game, a standard football game, there are probably, all told, 100,000 people there, right?
Okay.
And on the field, you're going to have, is it 52 players?
53.
53. So you're going to have 106 players who go out on the field.
Okay.
And then you're going to have some number of coaches, and you get some number of staff, and then people doing the hot dog stand and parking attendants. Anyway, so you got 100,000 people. Out of those 100,000 people, you only have 106 who are actually visible playing the game.
Okay.
The rest of the people at the football game are sympathizers.
Okay.
I think that's a factor here. What we have is, we have entitled racist, misogynist, white people. I got to take the misogynist out. I think you can be racist, and although they really, it does seem to just somehow all like glom together. But all those
It
people are in
gloms
the stands,
together.
they're not the game. They are not the game.
It
They
gloms
pay for
together.
the game. They make the team. They support the team or they don't, but they're not the actual game. And I don't think that the people sitting in the stands have the balls to go out and play the game. I think they're just sitting in the stands watching.
Right.
We need to keep that in mind. And you yourself have reminded me of this, that's the compelling reason that you continually throw kindling onto the fire, is because the people who might be listening and trying to decide which team to root for, they will see that, and you need to push back. So there are a lot of countervailing things going on here. And the only point that I'm making is that we only have one justice system. We're obligated to use it. We're mutually agreed it's broken. That's why Colin Kaepernick took a knee. But we're obligated to use it. And I think because we have, fortunately, a progressive, liberal, democratic administration right now, this 4 years, I do believe that naming Jack Smith as a special counsel, all things considered, it's working, and it's working as well as it can.
If it were working, he never would have been allowed to walk out of that courtroom.
I don't think that, I think there's a whole provision called bail on personal recognizance, and you're allowed to.
So, okay, we're going to take you, put you in a cell, and when you make arrangements for bail, we'll
He
release
said
you.
that he disappeared into the courthouse, and 90 minutes later, he showed up in the courtroom. During that 90 minutes, they made all those arrangements.
Would I have gotten those arrangements?
I think so, yes.
No, no, no,
I think they're standard arrangements.
no. Would you have gotten those arrangements? No.
I think so, yeah.
In a trial with Marlon Taylor, would press and cameras been allowed in the courtroom? Yes. Yes.
No, not if it was a federal trial. I think you're overdoing this. The problem is that I agree with you philosophically. I understand the sentiment. I understand the basic premise. All of these things I support. We're kind
This
of
is
aligned.
all prelude to the fact that he is not going to be held accountable. This is why I'm having this
But
conversation.
you're doing it based on him not being black.
No, I'm based
And I'm
on
doing it based on other aspects.
no, I'm not basing it on him not being black. I'm basing it on the fact that he has never fucking been held accountable for anything in his life.
That is true.
Has nothing to do with skin color. If it were you versus me in that courtroom, yeah, we could make that argument. But you and I have been held accountable. He has never been held accountable, and he's not going to be held accountable here. And he's not going to be held accountable in the face of obvious factual evidence.
I don't know that. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying I don't know that.
I do.
You always know and I don't know. So
Reality winner, Exhibit A. 1 document, 5 years.
Well, maybe you get
A white woman, by the way. A white woman, by the way. 1 document. Not 37 indictments, not boxes of fucking classified documents. 1.
Well, it's just getting started.
That's another thing that angers me. This is a slam dunk. This would be a slam dunk with any other individual. The only positive.
I think you might be right. That part I'll buy. That part I'll buy.
The only positive that I've seen in all of this equation, and this is the only one, and I'm grasping, yes, but this is the only one, is that the judge, herself, has said and issued an order that he is not permitted to have contact with witnesses. Because if he did, we would be adding witness intimidation to the charges.
We will be adding it.
We will be adding it. As those witnesses are announced, we will be adding it.
I consider it a plus. And I know you don't follow the Ukraine war. I see a lot of parallels with the Ukraine war.
Here's the parallel I follow and see. MAGAs, you would have to fucking peel off the ceiling of that courtroom if this were Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton would never do this, but if it were, you would have to peel fucking MAGAs off the ceiling. Because it's Trump.
You kind of have to peel us off the ceiling. We really don't like Trump.
We don't, but we're very unlike MAGA, where we are trying to have dialogue like you and I are doing.
We're not walking around with pig heads.
No, we're not walking around with pig heads. We're
Hey,
trying
you see, to me, that's a real positive. That's a real positive because
How's
it's
that a
like they
positive?
said, there are only a couple people there, and the ones that were there were wackos. So
How is that positive?
that's part of the exposition. I mean, there are
The
no
exposition
serious-
isn't.
He wasn't able to get. I'm sure you're aware that in order for somebody to stand next to Trump in court, you're aware of this. They have to pass the federal bar and they have to pass the Florida bar.
Right.
So they had a situation
Right.
where they ran out of lawyers.
Right.
And in order for his lawyer of record, Touche or something, I don't remember his name precisely, the guy from New York,
New
they
York.
had to find somebody in Florida.
Right.
And apparently they went through a
A
large
shit ton.
number
A shit
of
ton. A
potential
shit ton.
candidates, and they all refused to stand next to him because they're like, no way. So that's actually exposition. All of these things contribute to exposition. It's the only course of action that we have.
And an even better exposition to that is one that and I'm going to give the credit to Politics Girl. I told you to follow her on Twitter. You'll find her. She does a number of TikTok videos, and it's always about how the process is so flawed and broken. But she raised what I thought the best point of anyone yesterday on Twitter. She talked about the exposition, and many have talked about the exposition of not a single lawyer in Florida has volunteered to stand next to him. I agree with you on that. But here's an even bigger, more salient point. In all of the conversation that is taking place, do you know the one thing that is missing?
Just one thing.
This one thing is critical.
What
And
is
do
it?
you know what that is?
No.
Not once have we heard the statement, he didn't do these things.
Well, it doesn't matter.
That should matter.
Hey, he's their savior, so it's immaterial.
Not once have we heard those words.
Immaterial.
It's very material.
No, I like what you're saying. I'm agreeing with you, and I'm contemplating
Not
it.
once have we heard anyone
Yeah,
involved in this
it's not
equation.
deemed necessary to actually deny it. So it's universally recognized that he did.
If you're being charged with federal crimes, I think it behooves you to say, I did not do this.
Well, what he says is under the Presidential Records Act, I was allowed to do anything I wanted. So that's basically
Wrong.
his way of saying,
Wrong.
yeah, I know he's wrong, and I'm glad.
And they fact checked his fucking bullshit after the courtroom appearance yesterday. And one of the things, and this is why I'm telling you, treason is not a bridge too far. One of the things he is claiming is that the toppled box of top secret documents, that the FBI toppled that over. No, the photo is from 2021, the FBI didn't execute the search warrant until 2022. So there's no way in hell the FBI toppled that box of documents. So that's an
that's kind of down in the weeds. I
that's
really liked.
but it's an example of an outright lie. That is
True,
an
true, true.
outright lie.
There are a lot of things that I don't think these people give a shit about.
What would happen to me if I went into a court of law, put my
Why
hand
do you
on a
keep
Bible?
bringing that up? I just consider that such a non sequitur. I'm sorry.
It is not a non sequitur.
You're not an ex-president either.
But I'm an individual beholden to the law, as he
Okay,
should
but
be.
you're saying anybody who's not an ex-president would be treated different. I think we're agreed. I really like what you said earlier, and I wasn't. I was actually celebrating it from different perspectives. I want to remake the point you made, which is an excellent point. The thing that's missing is the denial. That is an excellent point, and you're right. That is a very real exposition of what's going on here. When
Yes.
nobody denies it.
If you accuse me of
Clue for
anything,
200.
if you accuse me of anything, and I've been accused of a number of things, if you accuse me of anything,
J'accuse.
and I know that I haven't done it, what's
You're
the
denying.
first thing out of my mouth?
I didn't do it.
Exactly. Where is that in this particular case?
Well, it's
Not-
unnecessary.
Not just from those that are standing next to him in the courtroom, the psycho fucking Republicans who are continuing to support him like troglodyte and everyone else in that sphere. Where is he did not do this?
It ain't there. And that's an excellent
No, it
point.
is not there.
I have
And
a
it-
question. If you were white, would you feel better about this situation right now?
No.
Then why am I thinking that it's a net positive? The only thing I would change is I would get Eileen Cannon off the fucking case.
You're thinking it's a net positive because you are putting faith in the process, in the system.
No,
that
I
it will-
also consider that no charges are brought. He's never indicted. Nothing is done. He just skates into.
Well, he's been indicted. He's, to your point, he's been indicted.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm
So-
I'm seeing some positive things here, but is it because you're black that you think there's just nothing but inequity, and as a consequence, Trump will get off because he's white?
Yeah, well, because
So if you were white, this would actually, that might be why my glass is half full on this. Because I don't feel the same way that you do.
correct. But I don't think he'll get off. In part because he's an old white rich man, and old white rich men don't go to jail. But more importantly, because he's Trump. I just said to you moments ago, if this were Hillary Clinton, you'd have to peel MAGAs off the ceiling, and Hillary Clinton.
But it wouldn't matter because the MAGAs are up in the stands. They're not on the field playing the game. I probably put less stock in what people say. I think we know that that's the fact. I put almost no stock in what MAGAs say.
But yet with
They're
the
all fucking
same,
pussies anyway. It
but
doesn't
yet,
matter.
but yet with the same breath, you think treason is a bridge too far.
Yes.
And it's not. You know, one of the viral photos.
Wait. Look at the sentence construction. JD says treason is a bridge too far. Actually, let's be clear. JD hopes that treason
Okay.
is a bridge too far.
Okay, that's a better statement.
For a small but significant percentage of MAGAnoids.
And in Marlon's opinion, he says it is not.
That was really well done.
Now, what makes
We
Marlon
should have a
think,
focus group.
what makes Marlon think that? One simple reason. One simple viral photo. Sorry,
History.
not video, photo.
Which one?
Sunday at the gates of Disney World, maggots standing outside the gates holding and flying Nazi flags. Do you
Okay, you know what they
realize?
are? They're outside the
real-
stadium. They're
do
not
you-
in the game.
Do
They're
you
just
realize?
fucking maggots.
Do you realize it is against and a violation of their laws in Germany to display and fly a Nazi flag.
Yeah,
But
'cause they're
that's
actual Nazis.
acceptable. But that's acceptable in the United States. Treason is not a bridge too far.
I have met people that I disagree with politically, and
Treason is not a
I do
bridge too
see
far.
entitlement, but I see that in myself. In other words, a lot of the characteristics that I'm assigning to Maganoids, I share. I'm from that tree, but I'm hopeful that there are certain things that I'm sticking with hopeful.
I know you are, and I love you for it. I love you for it. I know you are, and I love you for it.
I'm not condemning like I said, MAGAs are pussies. What does that mean? MAGAs are pussies simply means that they go into the ballot box and it's in the privacy of the ballot box, and then they still vote for this guy. And
Right.
I just think that's a chicken shit move.
Of course it is.
And
Of
I'll
course
tell
it
you
is.
why, because if I were, I would be like, I don't know. It just, I don't know why they would want to weaken everybody. I can see why they'd want to weaken people of color and LGBTQ, but I think they should
I know
recognize
why.
Trump is not helping the country. He's
I know
actually
why.
hurting the United States. And that's what I'm hoping treason will reach, that sensibility where they'll be like, he's hurting the United States. He's not just hurting Democrats. He's actually hurting the United States. And I give a shit about the United States. Most Americans would say, I care about the United States.
Most Americans would say that.
USA. What's that?
Most Americans would say that. Most Americans would be
I think it's
outraged.
genuine.
Most Americans would be outraged if Joe Biden, as president, shared documents.
Agreed. I think they would be outraged.
Hold on, let me finish. Most Americans would be outraged if Joe Biden tomorrow shared documents with facets that put my son, nephew, cousin, who is serving somewhere abroad at risk.
I think they're pondering
How
these.
dare you put my family member at risk?
I think they're pondering these things.
No, they are not. You need two things to ponder that in the manner in which you're indicating. One, intelligence, which they do not have.
All right, we're starting to play a role over again. You can't just uniformly say people that we disagree with are not intelligent.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
Strangely motivated. We don't share their
I'm
motive.
saying if someone in this country shared classified information that put my loved one at risk, I would be outraged.
I'm
They are not.
speculating that there is some outrage, and it doesn't even
No.
have to be outrage.
No.
It just has to be enough to not vote for this fucker in the primary.
No,
That's all they have to do is vote
I'm
for.
seeing it every fucking day, all day long. They are not outraged. They don't believe
They're not
it.
on the field of play. They're just sitting there waiting to
They're
decide
voters.
what to do.
They're voters.
They're not voting right now. They're just sitting in the stands eating hot dogs.
And at some point, they're going to have to come out of the stands
That's
and
what I'm
vote.
saying. I think I would actually, it's interesting because I would draw a much harder line now than I did before. In other
Meaning,
words, to me, Trump's a turd. I mean, he's just not a good person. He's a bad dude. But selling top secret documents to foreign governments, to me, that is beyond the lunacy with COVID. It's actually up there with the January 6th insurrection.
this is why you and I have been best friends for over 35 years. You have conscience. You have heart. You have
Just fell out.
intelligence. You have consciousness. You have heart. You have intelligence. So all three of those things makes JD what? Go, fuck, he's putting my country and my fellow countrymen at risk. That's a bridge too far for me. Where they
Yeah, I'd already not gone there, but you're right.
They do not have that capability. They do not comprehend reality like you and I do. They are in the bubble, and low IQ mixed with the bubble gives us exactly what we have, which is not a bridge too far.
All right. Well, I'm just hoping it drops to 28%. Because I do believe they're going to I think he's going to win the primary. And what do you think of all these stupid fuckers who are getting into the race, knowing that getting into the race guarantees they lose? It just makes no sense to me.
None. I know what you're talking about. Exhibit A, Chris Christie.
Unless the RNC is actually like, all right, so here's the plan. All you people are going to get into the race. In other words, it's like an actual plan.
If you're
he gets the nomination.
And this is how fucked up the Republican Party is. If you're supporting him, then why are you getting in the race?
Well, they're supporting him against overreach by the federal government. Which, of course, we're going to start a whole new cycle. And I think we're about an hour, but
we're over an hour.
What Jim Jordan is doing is he's weaponizing the federal government. But right. As a matter of exposition, none of it is working. And the only thing that I started off with is that I'm trying to balance between condemnation in toto of all my people, because it's mostly white people. What is wrong with white people? I'm trying to balance that with some type of nuanced potential for recovery, and I'm speculating that treason will be a bridge too far for some of them. And then I'm also speculating that they're going to run out of explanations, and somebody's going to finally articulate the underlying fundamental theory of some of these people, which I think is we're superior.
We already know.
We deserve to be here. Other people don't deserve to be here. We founded this country. We built this country. This is a white country. It should be built on our religions. And if you don't have our religion and you're not white and you don't support our views of society, then you should somehow be diminished. So I think somebody's going to have to just blurt that out eventually and say, we've been trying to achieve this and we keep losing ground because everybody else keeps having babies.
To that individual, who blurts that out, I would say, my bad. No, I would say, my bad. I didn't know you were Native American and founded this country. I'm sorry, my bad. I didn't realize you founded the United States of America.
You know, I wouldn't have gotten that if we hadn't done this before. All right, well, I have a suggestion. I think we beat the crap out of this one.
Yeah, we did.
And I caught up to you on That's Why Kaepernick Took a Knee. I still think you lose altitude and speed when you do that.
Not at all. Not at all.
What you're saying is
I'm talking about is
because it's unfair, and because it's unfair, Trump is going to get off because he basically is the epitome of the advantaged class that the justice system will make adaptations for.
Welcome to the boat.
Okay, so I finally caught up.
Welcome to the boat. And that's something that
I wouldn't use it in conversation with a MAGA, that's for sure.
I wouldn't have a conversation with a MAGA.
You're the only person I know who talks to them all the time.
I talk at them, not with them.
Oh, okay.
To have a conversation with another human being, there has to be balance in that conversation of some level of intelligence. They possess none. None.
Well, on that note, you should probably take us out, man.
I'm going to take us out. I'll save the other piece of kindling for tomorrow because I don't know if you saw it, but and it has to do with the bubble. We'll pick that one up tomorrow. The bubble made a tremendous mistake yesterday, and I said, would you trust anything that comes out of that organization? Because I sure as hell don't.
All right.
We'll pick that one up on tomorrow. As always, I love what we're doing. I really do.
I think we're
I
the
really
only
do.
ones.
I had a call before I got on today, and I shared with that individual that I have forayed, thanks to JD, my partner, into the world of podcasts. And you've heard me say many times, I have zero expectations on what this becomes.
And those are being met.
Yes. And I'm doing it for the simple reason of one of my taglines, reach one, teach one. So if we present a minuscule of value to one individual out there, I will have felt like my job was well done and I was well served to my purpose.
Well, as usual, you educated me. Marlon, that's why Kaepernick took a knee.
That's why Kaepernick took a knee. We'll catch, where am I? Here we go. We'll catch.
Oh, you're going to another dimension.
We'll catch each other on the flip. I can't wait for our next session. I'm already fired up.
All right, bud.
We'll see you. We're on Twitter. We're on Spoutable. We're on Twitter as long as I don't get suspended. We're on Twitter. We're on Spoutable. We're on YouTube. Like us, find us, and most of all, please subscribe to us. Love you, brother.
All right, bud. Love you too.
Catch you, man.